world is changing. With advancements in technology, finding information has never been easier. With this, being a college student, I wanted to find out if college has been the same over the past generations. So with this, I sat down with my grandparents to see what their college experience was like. The first thing I was curious about was how difficult was it paying for college back in their time.
Well, in my case, I knew from the get-go that I was going to have to pay my way through college. There weren't student loans, there weren't Pell Grants, and being a child of a large family, my parents had told us that if we wanted to go to college, we would have to pay for it ourselves.
I then went on to ask them what was the most difficult part for them while in college.
Probably the hardest part for me personally was keeping the schedule because we did have classes from 7 o'clock was first class until noon. Then if you were lucky, you could grab a bite of lunch and then grab the bus and ride to downtown Cincinnati and work from 1 till 5.
It seems that working was a common thing back then, and from knowing this, I wanted to know what it was like if they had missed class or a project.
In our case, it was if we missed, we had to go to a student that was a friend in the class and ask for guidance, ask for notes that were taken that we could keep up. If it got really burdensome, then we would have to go to the professor and ask for guidance as to how we could make up the situation.
What was the social scene like back then? How did students interact with each other?
Most of our communication was done face to face. If you wanted to see your friend, you walked down the hall and knocked on the door, in the dorm.
Now, this being the lifestyle in college back in the 60s, I wanted a more up-to-date version of the answers. So I went to my dad to interview him about what he had to say about his college experience. I wanted to get his perspective on what it was like having to manage time with homework assignments.
You had things that you had to do, and you just incorporated that time requirement into your day, into your schedule, and then you just went from there.
Did professors ever make it challenging or hard to find assignments and to get them turned in on time?
All the information was there. They didn't make it a mystery.
During your college experience, was there any challenges that made it hard to graduate or to pass a class?
In between having started my college career and ending my college career, I had gotten married. I had been injured in an extremely serious auto accident.
Now, were you a resident or did you commute while you were at college?
Quite nearly the entire college process for me, I was either living at home or I was living on my own. I wasn't living on a campus.
Did it take you the regular amount of 4 years to get your degree, or did you have to take additional courses to extend that period?
I was quite nearly done with my criminology degree, but then I had interrupted that degree program by going to police academy for 6 months.
Going to the police academy, what were the professors like there, or who taught the classes?
We had college classes that were actually taught by guys that were law enforcement officers.
Now, you said earlier that you had gotten married while you were in college. What did you and your wife do for fun?
We did a lot of activities in and amongst our families.
Do you think with the help of Microsoft Word that assignments are a lot easier, or do you think assignments are still harder with certain projects?
Once you get the information, just like you do now on a computer, you still have to consume it, you still have to read it, you still have to absorb it.
Getting some insight on what college was like from older generations is great, but I wanted to get some insight on what it's like for someone who is in college now. So I asked one of my friends to sit down with me, and I wanted to see what their college experience has been like so far. I asked her what was the hardest thing for her with having multiple classes and assignments with professors.
not knowing what all the teachers expect.
Now, being a college student in 2015, do you have a lot of homework or not really?
On average, between studying, doing homework, and reviews, I would say a good 5 hours.
Now, with having that much homework and studying, are you able to plan everything out, or does sometimes everything just get piled up and you can't handle it?
I would say yes, because I plan out my days. Usually, I plan out the times I do my homework and studying, and I plan everything out so I don't have to worry about that.
Having all of these assignments to do, what is your sleep schedule like?
I go to bed at a decent time. I just don't sleep at night, so.
I asked my grandparents if they went to class and worked at the same time, and they did. Now, do you work while you're in school?
Yes, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Mondays and Wednesdays, I go to class from 9:10 to 10:10, attend chapel, and then work from 11 to 12:50. That's Mondays and Wednesdays, and Fridays I work 4 to 8.
Now, you being a sophomore, did you work on campus or off campus your freshman year?
No, last year I worked off campus, and I worked 40 to 45 hours a week, and because of that, I failed out of school. So, working on campus is a lot easier and manageable.
Being a full-time student and working a job and doing a lot of homework, are you able to have a social life, or is that pretty much non-existent?
If you're a full-time student and you're taking 16 credit hours and you're trying to work 40 hours on top of that, you have no time for social life, you have no time for homework, no time for sleep, nothing.
So do you think with the invention of Microsoft Word that homework is a lot easier to do now that we have Google and all this other stuff to create a lot of useful papers, so we don't have to go out into libraries and find a bunch of books and stuff?
It's a really good resource to have because our world that we live in is pretty much driven by technology, and it's not going to stop, it's going to keep going. So I definitely think that if you're at home and you don't have time to go to the library, you don't have a ride, or you're just you're in a rut, technology is really nice to have because you can look up anything you need.
Now, when you do have a little bit of free time with not working and doing homework, what do you like to do for fun?
My downtime, I hang out with my friends, hang out with my boyfriend, play cards, we play board games, we watch movies. We do fun things.
Overall, I think that college is the same, but the players are different. Meaning that the assignments and the professors still expect the same amount of effort and time to put into assignments, but students just need to do that.